We are here to provide information regarding this afternoon's officer-involved shooting here in Roswell. In just a moment, we will hear from Chief Conroy, C-O-N-R-O-Y. At the conclusion of his update, we will be able to take just a few questions, but please keep in mind that this is still a very fresh and active investigation, so we will be limited in what we will be able to provide. So this time, I'll turn things over to Chief Conroy.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Earlier this afternoon, Roswell Police Department, with the assistance of the North Fulton SWAT team, were executing search and arrest warrants in the 500 block of Ansley Drive here in the city of Roswell. The SWAT team and detectives were on scene, surrounded the location, and were attempting to contact occupants of the residence. At this point, one of the suspects exited the rear of the location, ran out the back door, and encountered one of the SWAT officers who was working containment. The suspect fired 2 rounds, striking the SWAT officer twice in the chest. That SWAT officer returned fire, striking the suspect. The suspect is deceased on the scene. The SWAT officer has been transported to an area hospital where he is in stable condition, and it appears that his vest has saved his life, but he did suffer injuries from the incident. In accordance with our policy, I've contacted the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, who has now arrived on scene, and they have assumed command of the investigation. The North Fulton SWAT team is comprised of officers from Roswell, Alpharetta, Milton, and Johns Creek, and the SWAT team was utilized in this instance. The suspect was the target of the search warrants, was wanted on multiple firearms charges, has an extensive violent criminal history involving the use of firearms. We apply our threat matrix to it, and the threat matrix recommends that the SWAT team be utilized for this type of operation. At this point, I'll take any questions you may have.
So I understand, Chief, that this is still ongoing. Can you give us a little more information about the investigation, just what initially brought you guys out there?
So this stemmed from an incident on December 31st in which the target of the search warrants was in an altercation. He was asked to leave a party, and he discharged a firearm at some of the residents. We identified him and discovered this extensive criminal history and obtained the warrants charging him with multiple violations. We'll give you a list of those exact warrants.
The guy who was shot and killed the suspect, that was not the initial focus of your search?
So we have not yet identified who it is, whether or not that's the target of the investigation or not. There were at least 5 adults in the residence, and 1 fled the location and assaulted the SWAT team.
I drove by there. I mean, it looks like your typical Roswell subdivision. Had you guys gotten complaints from neighbors? Has there been ongoing problems? This wasn't just some house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I can't really speak to the history of the household. I'm not prepared to speak on that, but we're familiar with the target of our search warrants. As I mentioned, he has an extensive criminal and violent history.
You mentioned the SWAT team is comprised of officers from Roswell, Alpharetta. Do you know which agency the SWAT officer was from?
So it's comprised of Roswell, Alpharetta, Milton, and Johns Creek. So 4 agencies. I do know which agency he is. I'm not prepared to release that until he's had an opportunity to speak to his family.
The others that were in the house, they're cooperating with you?
Yeah, the other occupants of the house are cooperating, yes.
This is the second officer-involved shooting, and you've been in this jurisdiction since the beginning of the year. Just kind of your reaction to that, and maybe speak to what, I guess it's another example of how there's no such thing, I guess, as a routine call.
And that's a great comment. There is no routine day for law enforcement. Law enforcement is a very dangerous job in this country. You see it across the country. Police officers are assaulted at higher rates than they ever have been in the history. We have the advantage. We have well-trained police officers. We have a full staff here at the Roswell Police Department. We maintain full staff, and the officers in our North Fulton area, our SWAT team, are well-trained, work together, and unfortunately sometimes deadly force is required. We are very fortunate that this officer is alive. As I mentioned, he was struck twice in the chest, and his vest absorbed most of it, but he still did suffer some injuries. So we are fortunate not to have an officer who was deceased here today.
What gun did the suspect have?
He was armed with a handgun. I do not have the make and model of the handgun, but he had a handgun.
As far as the neighborhood, are people being told to stay in their houses? Are they able to get in and out of the neighborhood? How's that?
No, so we have one school's about to get out. We have the street open to all residents, and the school buses should be letting out shortly, so we want to make sure the kids are able to make it home safely. So once we're cleared and the GBI has concluded their investigation, we'll open the street to the public. Right now it's open to any of the residents in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's great. You said you guys would be releasing information about the suspect who was killed.
So what we will do, our PIO will work with you. The GBI is here. They have now assumed control of the investigation at my request, and the information further will be coming from either our PIO or the GBI's PIO.
Sorry, last question. Any, as far as not to reveal your strategy, but the fact that you guys went to serve this while the kids are in school, things like that, was there? Were you deliberate about why you guys went at that certain time?
So yeah, we are very deliberate. We have a threat matrix, and we analyze this. Anytime we have the opportunity to prepare for an operation like this, our SWAT team gets to prepare and do a walkthrough before we actually go out and execute a warrant. Much preferred than being reactive, which oftentimes SWAT teams are reactive, but ours is used to provide as much safety as possible. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming out here. Keep an eye on your inboxes. In the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, you should receive a news release from me with the information that Chief Conroy just provided, as well as the information on the charges that led up to this incident. Additional information is going to come from the GBI. Thank you.